must have a manifesto. Otherwise, if I do everything now, if I could, what would I do when I come into office? I mean, how can you do everything now? Even President Mahama.
President Mahama says you were supposed to be an economic messiah, but you seem to have failed in the management of the.
Let me remove my case. Before I proceed to ask my questions, I would like to emphatically state that these questions were not given to me by anyone. My second question borders. Mr. The question is one question. So my question, the second question is about perception. Boss. The perception is very, very important. I'll come up to you.
This is Magical GH. Magical GH. And I'll be near my papa. Subscribe Nestle. Magical.
It is possible. I have the honor of inviting His Excellency to address us.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dangoche. Let me stand on the existing protocols and ask. This is a very, very important meeting the media, and you have a very difficult job to do as the media. Sometimes through your work, as hard as it is, people lose their lives. This is how difficult it is for the media. And so before we really proceed, I want to ask in honor of the memory of members of the media who've lost their lives in carrying out their job to get up and let us have a minute's silence before we proceed. May their souls and those of all who have departed rest in perfect peace. Amen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the media. I warmly welcome you to our maiden media encounter. The notice, I know, was short, and you responded. Particularly exciting is that media practitioners from the 16 regions of our country are duly represented here tonight. I am grateful that you've traveled that far and and near to listen to me speak and ask the critical questions agitating your minds and those of our people. This engagement tonight was originally planned for June 26, 2024, and had to be suspended to make way for a broader consultation, the choice also of my running mate, and the launch of our manifesto, all of which have now been completed. The media plays an important role in the democratic process, and those seeking to govern our nation must be interested in partnering with the media to ensure that Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo passed the right to information law to enhance the work of the media. We are partners with you, and a partnership I will continue to keep as the new leader of the MPP. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, in November last year, I was elected as the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party for the December 2024 elections. In my campaign for the flag bearership, you offered me extensive coverage, and this resulted in no small way in my decisive victory. Since then, I have traveled the country and engaged with fellow citizens on the way forward for our nation. I've met with traditional rulers, religious rulers, students, market women, the youth, and many identifiable groups. I've listened to the great ideas they shared with me. Some have asked questions about the performance of our government in the last 7 years. Some have praised the remarkable achievements of President Akufo-Addo. Similarly, some have offered advice. I've also taken advantage of my engagements to recount the many successes of the government of President Akufo-Addo. I have also, in my encounters, acknowledged the economic difficulties citizens have faced, especially between 2020 and 2022, and the interventions we've made to bring back the economy. Last week, provide good governance, care for the elderly, protect our environment, boost sports, creative arts, and tourism, protect our borders while keeping our neighborhoods safe. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is an opportunity for the media to thoroughly examine the proposals in our manifesto and offer criticisms where necessary. We are ready to listen. Let me take advantage of your presence here to state my firm commitment to free, fair, and peaceful elections in December. The quest for political power should not be an end in itself. It should be mounted on the desire to transform lives and make Ghana, our motherland, a better place for us all. However, it is becoming increasingly worrying that some people have gained the notoriety of churning out incendiary language, threatening fire and brimstone if the good people of Ghana give the mandate to rule to a group other than theirs. Whilst nobody profits from violence and chaos, it bears repeating that not a single drop of Ghanaian blood should be sacrificed for power. Our party is determined to pitch our ideas, as we have always done, and to demonstrate the superiority of our ideas over and above what any other party can offer. My pledge, and that of the MPP, is to run a campaign of ideas and to conduct ourselves in a manner worthy of a democratic group. Our main goal is that at the end of the contest, we carry on with our lives secure in the knowledge that there is work to do, work to sustain the rebounding economy. To those who threaten war, mayhem, and violence, my message to them is that this isn't Ghanaian. Our pursuit of power must be paired with the compelling need to allow the Ghanaian to continue to enjoy his or her peace. Ghana will exist long after we've all left the scene. Thank you for your attention, and I'll see the microphone and take your questions. Thank you very much.
Like they say these days, ladies and gentlemen, very mindful, very cutesy, very demure. Please put your hands together for the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. We now cede the microphones to our friends from the media. Please, the numbers, as we all acknowledge, is quite huge, and so.
Thank you so much on behalf of the Ghana Journalists Association. I have two simple questions to ask you, Your Excellency. What is your commitment to media freedom? And how would you urge your supporters to refrain from attacking journalists, especially during electioneering, as we are in some few months to go? And also, how will you deal with your supporters who act in such a manner? The second question, Your Excellency, the media industry is currently facing serious financial distress. Some media houses are folding up, and there are hints of imminent sale of state-owned media. What are your thoughts on selling the state-owned media, and how would you help the media industry to overcome the financial distress if you are elected as president? Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you. So only the DJ gets to ask two questions, please. Gordon. We'll take about 6 questions, then His Excellency would respond then.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I'll keep my questions short as myself. Your Excellency, former President Mahama says you were supposed to be an economic messiah, but you seem to have failed in the management of the economy. Do you have any response?
Okay. In Sempera, I see at least we get steroid. So we'll keep moving.
Thank you, His Excellency. My name is Sempera Emmanuel Marti, and I work with Afima FM in Koforidua, the East Regional Capital. My question is very simple and short. Is there anything you have disagreed with in this government as a Vice President? Thank you.
Disagreed. Very deep question.
Eugene, from Ashanti Ray. Ishua FM.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Vice President. My name is Eugene Osei-Tutu. I work in Kumasi, subsidiary of the Multimedia. Listening to you last Sunday and also reading your manifesto, and you're giving us an abridged version. When you go to the page 23 and 24, you are tackling the rising cost of living basically on 4 legs. Food, then you talk about transportation, you talk about housing, and also electricity. Now on transportation, your solution is bringing in, one of your solutions is bringing in electric vehicles for public transport. And last Sunday you did indicate that you're expecting about 100 of them before December. I have 3 questions on that. We know EV vehicles are mostly charged. They have public charging systems that we use to, power these buses to ply our roads. When we check the Energy Commission website as of this evening, we have only 5 public charging ports in the country, 5. And 2 of them are actually for Porsche cars specifically. Then 1 at the Total Energy Station at the Liberation Road. So between now and December, where are we building the charging port? Is the government building it? What's the source of fund? Is it the private sector or is it PPP? So that's my question one.
Thank you.
Then question two. No, I'm not done.
No, is it directly related to EV?
Yes, it's the EV.
Let's refer to the others and make it short.
Okay, so still on the EV, we know that most of these charging ports for green mobility innovations, they must be powered with green energy. So are we already adding on to our energy mix, which is the brown, making it counterproductive, or we build dedicated solar panels for this charging port? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I think we'll go to this side before we come back. So Wilberforce. Don't worry, we'll keep moving to every room.
Thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Vice President, so throughout your campaign, I have noticed that you've been talking about job creation and support for businesses. I have also taken the pain to read all the 260-page manifesto that you launched a week ago. And I see that the golden thread in that manifesto is also the creation of jobs. But the young people in Ghana are asking, really, where will they find themselves in that manifesto? How are you going to create jobs for the young people of this country? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Wilberforce. I think at this point, His Excellency will take the questions and we don't have the chance. Your Excellency, 6 questions.
Thank you very, very much. I think those are pretty tough questions. The first question by the Vice President of the GJA was on commitment to media freedom. And I think that commitment is very absolute. I think the press and people have fought and have lost their lives even to get press freedom or media freedom in this country. A lot of the times we take it for granted, but I think that media freedom and is so pivotal to the whole democratic exercise that we are embarked on. If you don't have media freedom, you have a difficulty. I mean, the lack of media freedom is a characteristic of societies which are more dictatorial. And I think one of the things about Ghana that everybody who comes here really appreciates is the freedom of the media. We talk a lot on radio, TV all day. And so I'm very committed to this because I'm inherently someone who is very committed to democracy. And I don't think that anyone should attack a member of the press for doing their job. And so we will totally be against that, and ask all our supporters to refrain absolutely from doing that, because that undermines the very democracy that we are doing. So I think that one is clear. The issue of stealing state-owned media, I am not aware that anything of that nature has come to cabinet, but should it come, there has to be a justification for it. We will await any such thing that will come. I'm not aware that there's a proposal to sell a state-owned media. But if it comes, it has to be justified, and of course a big decision like that will have to be undertaken with a lot of consultation of stakeholders. The third question third question is about what the former president supposed to have said about me being an economic messiah, supposedly, who has failed. Sometimes I get a little surprised and amazed the former president when he talks about economic mismanagement, because he should know his own record. I mean, we don't all have short memories. We really don't all have short memories. His record in economic management, what he left us with in 2016 was an abysmal record. It's just an abysmal record. We had endured doing so for 4 years with all the destruction of industry and livelihoods that happened. People died because of doing so in hospitals. The National Health Service was virtually collapsed. Remember, we are basically back to a cash and carry system. The National Ambulance Service was virtually dead. We had maybe about 37 ambulances for the whole country. Unemployment as a result was very high. Agriculture, GDP growth had declined to 3.4%. 3.4%. Agricultural growth had declined to 2.9%. Of course, industry growth had collapsed because of doing so. Unemployment was high. There was a freeze on public recruitment as a result. And the banking sector was on the verge of collapse. We have, as a result, the cancellation of teacher training allowances, the cancellation of nursing training allowances. You had a 3-month pay policy for teachers, work for 3 years and be paid. And many children could not attend senior high school because of difficulties of paying fees and so on. You had many challenges that he left us with. So when you juxtapose that record with what we have been able to do in these last 8 years almost, it's really night and day. We have created at least 2.1 million jobs. The latest number I saw was 2.3 million, but let's say at least 2.1 million jobs in the last 7 years. And this is hard data I'm talking about, 2.1 million jobs. We've kept the public sector workers employed and fully paid through the COVID pandemic. We didn't lay anybody off. And if you look at it, we've built more roads, 3 times more the length of roads than what he did in office. We've built more railway than any other government in the Fourth Republic. Expanded rural telephony. There were 78 sites for rural telephony when we came in. Today there are 1,008 sites for rural telephony. We built more libraries, public libraries, than any other government. His time, he built only 8 years, 3 public libraries, 8 years. And we've built 54 public libraries in 8 years. We've constructed about 12 major fish landing sites across the country. Zim, Dix Cove, Marie, Mumford, Winneba, Senyabreku, Gomoa, Fete, Teshi, Osu, Ekumfi, and Mfasima. Constructed 2 fishing harbors in Elmina and Jamestown. Constructed more sanitation facilities, 817, than any other government in the Fourth Republic. This has increased the proportion of the population with access to toilet facilities from 33% in 2016 to 80%. And 5,400 communities have been declared open defecation free. We built more sports facilities in Ghana than any other government in the Fourth Republic. Whether you're talking about Boteman, the University of Ghana, and so on. When we came into office, there were only 3 astroturfs in the whole of Ghana. The whole of Ghana, 3. Today you have over 150. We've abolished the 3-month pay policy, constructed 120 courts we're constructing, 80 have been completed with bungalows, and we've kept the lights on broadly in the last 8 years. We've restored teacher and nursing training allowances. We've increased the beneficiaries of scholarships by 70%. And the national health insurance is now being extended to cover sickle cell patients with hydroxyurea, very expensive drug. I led the negotiations for that to happen. We have extended the national health insurance to cover childhood cancer, extended the national health insurance to cover kidney dialysis for over 60s and under 18s. We saved the deposits of 4.6 million bank depositors who really were going to lose their deposits if those banks were not saved. I don't understand whether the former president has taken his time to actually understand what happened in the banking sector. Some atrocious things happened. And this is why these banks had to be saved. They were not collapsed, they were merged into other banks. And no banking depositor lost 1 cedi. Everybody maintained that you had very bad things happening. Some of the banks broke all the rules and extended loans way above the single obligor limits. They were given, in some cases, 1 billion cedis by the Bank of Ghana to help them get out of the mess, and they only got deeper into the mess. Another bank was giving capital to save the situation. It was giving money from the Bank of Ghana's lender of last resort facility, and they used that money to go and set up Capital Bank instead of rescuing the problem that they had. They took the money from the central bank and went to set up another bank, which was also collapsed. And read the Bank of Ghana report and acquaint himself before making any further comments on matters he clearly does not understand. He needs to get an understanding before you make comments. And you cannot hand over a bank's license to them. This is subject to legal procedure. You have to go to court. You don't have the power in our constitution to do that. And I'm surprised sometimes because he has been president before and he should know these things. He should know these things. He should know. Ladies and gentlemen, we have tripled the capitation grant per child since we came into office, from 5 cedis to 15 cedis. And what is interesting also is that we've had the lowest increase in electricity tariffs in recent history. Between his time, 2009, and 2016, when they were in office, the average annual increase in electricity tariffs was 50% a year. That's the average. Some of the years were 80%. Between 2009 and 2016, 50% average a year. In the last 8 years, the average increase in electricity prices has been 11.1%. This is the lowest average increase of any government since 1992. Any government since 1992. When we came in our first term, we abolished and reduced 21 separate taxes. And we reduced import duties by 50% between 2019 and 2021. 50% reduction in import duties. And that, of course, we had to go back on that when we got into the crisis. We introduced the National Rental Assistance Scheme to help to deal with this problem of rent advance. And it is one of the best schemes that we have seen. It has worked very well, and we are going to expand it for the rest of the country. We are going to put in serious money, because with that, you don't need to pay 2 years rent advance. We will pay the landlord, and you just pay monthly, and it's working, and of course, working with the private sector. Infant mortality under our government has come down from 37.9 in 2016 to 31.7. And in terms of LEAP, livelihood empowerment against poverty, we have increased payments almost tenfold, from 49 million that we used to pay every year to 423 million LEAP payments. Now, National Health Insurance, NHIS expenditure has also gone